Welcome back to yet again another video brought to you by myself, made for you all to listen to. You can listen to this while you're in your car, while you're at home, or anywhere you may choose. Please remember, with that being said, to hashtag release the Snyder cut, hashtag release the Ayer cut, show a little love to hashtag release the Kimberg cut, hashtag the Alita Army, and the Alita sequel. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let's get right into it.
Get it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
With Zack Snyder's Justice League being the monumental, epic, grand, and massive ordeal that it absolutely is, one character that I was really excited to know that would not only be a part of Ben Affleck's Batman, but also this movie, was none other than Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. Now, for those of you that are unaware, Deathstroke has been seen in live action many times past. He was previously played by Manu Bennett on the Arrow series, and usually his scenes on Arrow were the best parts of Arrow. Like Arrow season 2, I don't care what anybody says about the CW verse, Arrow season 2 is absolutely fantastic, and a large part of it is due to Manu Bennett's portrayal as Slade Wilson. The only thing I say is that, his motivation is kind of but he's still vicious and sinister as Slade Wilson, and was the best part of that season. He was most recently seen in Titans Season 2. That gave me hiccups. Need some water. Hold on. Let me get a sip of this juice. That's good. He was previously seen in Titans Season 2. Those episodes are pretty okay. Titans Season 2 is a whole nother rant in itself, starting with the writing, the misuse of certain characters, and the killing of one that just made absolutely no sense and made me think that they don't care about the characters. Again, that's a whole other video. But we also saw Slade Wilson in a tease of sorts at the end of Justice League, and what we saw was that Joe M was suited up and seemingly ready to start, as Jesse Eisenberg's Lex called it, a league of their own, seemingly hinting toward League of Doom, which would make sense in hindsight, given that Black Manta and soon Black Adam will also be debuting at some point. We've seen so many rumors in terms of DC movies. We've seen so many different things that are not confirmed. Some good, some just disappointing. And the big one that I was always eager to know the most about and know about in general was the Deathstroke solo movie that was rumored to be coming to fruition. And this was something that was revealed back in 2017, that Deathstroke would be getting his own spinoff, which would be directed by the guy who made the Raid movies, which are fantastic in terms of action. Like, the action is literally top notch and just epic to see. So this would be something exciting to see, needless to say. And we didn't hear much about it after that. There were a whole bunch of fucking spinoffs that were announced at the time. And sadly, we haven't really seen any come to fruition, except for obviously Birds of Prey and whatever, Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. We haven't seen or heard anything in terms of a Deathstroke spinoff solo film, and it was more recently brought back up in terms of headlines because Gareth Evans has a show called, let's look at it. Gangs of London, which is on Sky Atlantic, from what I've been told. And he was asked about Deathstroke, and he spoke very candidly. And I'm reading this off of Yahoo. I'm not taking any credit. Don't worry, I'm not stealing. He said that I was actually quite enthused and excited about Deathstroke back in the day when it was first pitched to me. I met with them and talked to them about it, and it was certainly attached to it at a certain point. And then apparently he goes on to say that he talked to Joe M, and nothing more was said. He says, I've spoken to Joe, who was attached to Star's Deathstroke. I spoke to him a while back, and we both lamented the fact that it didn't happen. But yeah, I don't really have much more than that in terms of anything lately on it. The plan was, I wanted to tell something that would be a lean story, that would be kind of an origin of that character. Something that felt like it could be 100 minutes or 110 minutes long, max. Not to go over the 2-hour period with it. And honestly, guys, for Deathstroke, this Deathstroke's obviously already Deathstroke. To all you fanboys that say, oh, I need 30 movies before Deathstroke, but before Slade Wilson becomes Deathstroke. No, this is already fucking Deathstroke. You don't need 20 to 50 movies before he starts throwing bullets and slicing and dicing. He's already been established as Deathstroke in this DCEU. Anyway, continuing on, he says that back then I was massively influenced by films coming out of South Korea. So that was my pitch. I was like, these films are amazing. The texture and the tones of colors, the grit and the aggression of them is super interesting to use to tell Deathstroke's story. Let me read that one more time. Back then, I was massively influenced by the noir films coming out of South Korea. So that was my pitch. I was like, these films are amazing. The texture and the tones of colors, the grit and the aggression of them is super interesting to use to tell Deathstroke's story. So, pausing for a brief moment, we must not blame Gareth Evans nor Joe M, for they want this project to be shown to the world and be brought to fruition. We must yet again, brothers and sisters, look directly at WB and question, what are you guys actually trying to do or accomplish? And like I said many times before, if what Toby Emmerich said is true, this is something that needs to be damn near close to the top of the list of movies that should be greenlit. You understand what I'm saying? And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not surprised that certain things are the way they are in these regards. You have Joe M, who looks absolutely like, once again, looks absolutely like the embodiment of his character. He is Slade fucking Wilson. Somebody who wants to play the role so bad. And a director, a talented director, action director, and one who's influenced by things like noir, South Korean films. Telling a story that doesn't need to be necessarily an origin, something that's going to be gritty and something that tonally fits the character of Slade Wilson. And for whatever reason, WB is just like, yeah, we'll call you back in 30 years. Not cool, bro. So yeah, needless to say, I pray the day comes where I can just sit down and understand the decision making that goes on at WB. Now, with that said, things are happening. Good things are happening. Great things are happening. But in spite of, I sincerely hope that things like Cyborg, things like Deathstroke, and obviously the big one, another sequel with Henry Cavill as Superman. These are things we want to see happen beyond the Snyder Cut. These are things that ultimately make sense in the grand scheme of it all. And so, for Joe M's Deathstroke, teaming up with the likes of Gareth Evans, who is a highly respectable man, a filmmaker, and somebody who's done his research on the character, which, by the way, let's continue. He says, quote, "I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm not a massive comic book or superhero fan, but something about Deathstroke interested me. I did some reading into it. Not enough to make real hardcore fanboys happy. But I tried my best to consume as much as I could in the time that I was on it for a bit." You know what I'm saying? So this is a guy that's done research on the character, somebody who wants to provide fans and moviegoers a cinematic experience like no other with Deathstroke. And Deathstroke is a character that they can do a lot with in live action. A character that they have done a lot with in live action, but a character that they can take to heights that we haven't seen in live action. So hopefully, wishful thinking, because again, we like nice things. Hopefully, Joe M is brought back as Deathstroke beyond the Snyder Cut. This man looks literally like the spitting image of Slade Wilson. You know, he's a guy that can easily get into shape. He looks like a freaking defensive tackle mixed with a freaking UFC fighter. And this just ultimately makes sense. A R-rated Deathstroke solo film, something that doesn't require a massive budget, something very similar in vein of Joker, something that doesn't require a massive budget and can make WB a lot of money and make fans very happy. And I'm very saddened that we didn't get to see him square off against Ben Affleck's Batman. I know that would have been epic to witness. But beyond that, you know, again, this is just wishful thinking. Another missed opportunity by WB, tragically. But they can always reverse course and show us what they're made of. And hopefully, for Joe M, the fans like myself, the Deathstroke, hopefully this is something they explore. You know, I have several DC Black comics, but wait, Josh Samuel doesn't read comics. Again, incorrect, but nice try. I have several comics under the DC Black moniker, notably the Harleen one by Stefan Staffick. And I also have some Deathstroke comics as well. This is something I feel would work under that proposed DC Black label that Todd Phillips pitched to Warner Brothers while he was making Joker. This is something that makes a ton of sense under that label. Make the decision, WB. Make the decision. Make the right one. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, another missed opportunity by Warner Brothers. We all hope they correct course and give us a Deathstroke solo film, but we don't know if that will be the case. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you all so much once again for tuning in. And as I always say, love. Peace.